And the first thing we need to create is I need to create a file of truth for my company Catalyst and my perspective from my LinkedIn. These are going to be separate files and need to be set up so we can have multiple voices with different beliefs and different perspectives from our company. Create a core brand overview, beliefs, what we believe and no one else does, and our ICP for Catalyst, and create another doc for Will that dials in his perspective more acutely. And then what I'm going to do is research from gotcatalyst.com. And then I'm also going to pull in my LinkedIn and say, run an audit of Will's perspective from my LinkedIn. And so what we're doing here is asking it to create the beginning of this system. And first, we want to create the multiple documents that we'll need for every piece of content we create. Those specifically are my beliefs and point of view from Catalyst as a whole, my agency, and then also from my perspective. And you can see I set it up so it can run from multiple different perspectives from our company. And so a co-founder, one of our employees, I would input all of their profiles to create the starting place. The nice thing is this can build over time. And so as you conduct interviews, as you do webinars, as you record videos, etc., this document can be a living and should be a living document so that your beliefs and your perspectives are evolving over time. You can see that a lot of this already exists in this folder, and so it's going to try to not duplicate work, but we want to create new separate files alongside of these, and it's going to use data from Ordinal, which is pulling right from LinkedIn. And then brand is going to be shared truth and Will is going to be personal override. And so it's just asking some follow-up questions to be able to create this more specifically to what we're doing. And it's going to run through now, pulling in the real data. You can see it's going to call a series of tools. So it's pulling Ordinal, which again is the tool that we use to connect to LinkedIn for posting. But it also can pull in my analytics safely. And then it's going to use web research or EXA for web research to find information about Catalyst. We also have a Catalyst connector in here, so it has some additional information and maybe is asking for some approvals here. So we're going to let that run. In the meantime, anyone have any questions? I know we have some active participants in here, which is amazing. So if you have any specific questions, is this making sense? Is this tracking? Any questions about the prompt or connectors or how we're thinking about building this? I'm also going to drop the prompt here for anyone to use. You can see what I like about Claude Cowork. It first makes a plan and then it executes that plan. So you can see it did research on Catalyst. Then it's going to audit Will's LinkedIn perspective via Ordinal. Then it's going to write Catalyst brand truth file, then write Will's perspective file, and then verify files for drift and accuracy. And that's exactly what it's doing. And as these start being created, we'll actually we're going to start seeing these files populate here, which I always think is quite interesting. You can see it is explaining how it works, all in very legible, readable markdown. And so it's saying like, look, we're going to have Catalyst brand. It's going to have company information. Then we're going to have Will's perspectives. And then it's going to be able to match Will's voice. And it's pulling all of this directly from our live connectors. This is why setting up and adding connectors is so important, because it allows you to connect to all of these tools that you wouldn't normally be able to pull data from, which just gives all of these prompts more and more context. All right, let's see where it's going. So you can see it created the Catalyst brand as source of truth. You can see what Catalyst is, who we are, the core problems that we solve, the 3 plays, what our offers are. It, can see it found our executive LinkedIn content program, who we usually serve at that stage, pricing, headline proof, our process, who our ICP is, what we believe, content without a capture layer and retargeting, our spiky POVs, So the contrarian layer, and then our proof point, and then off limits, right? So this is a really effective way to inject everything that we create. And then what we're going to do is it's going to go a layer deeper of understanding who I am.